So first of all, I just want to thank you for giving me such an opportunity. And in this video, I'm going to discuss about the architecture design by just with this demo. I'm hoping that the video is recording. Okay. So the first thing is in order to detect the face. Okay. In order to detect the face correctly and to make sure that the user is actually, visible. The profile of the user is very much visible. I have used mediapipe. Okay. In that mediapipe, I've used the face detection model. That's a small model, and I've used the minimum confidence of 0.5%. And here I'm trying to demo this. So whenever the user moves a little far, it will actually show the user that move closer to the camera. And if the user is flickering, I mean, yeah, yeah. So as soon as the user comes, into the picture, uh, this will actually show the user that he or she can click the picture, and uh, then there's also this button, the shutter button, that will be enabled only when the user's profile is completely filled. So for this I've set the parameters like x center to be uh, 0.3 to 0.7 and the y center to be 0.3 to 0.6, and I've used the face width to be around 35% just to make sure that the user's profile is completely filled in this circle, and then only the color will be changed to green. Else there will be a message here that that will notify the user to come a little closer, and when the user is perfectly aligned into the frame, then only this message perfect captcha available will be visible, and then only the shutter button, if you observe here, will be activated. Else the shutter button won't be activated, and it won't allow the user to click random pictures. So the user can actually take front view. The user can take front view and the left view and all the five views, and after clicking it will actually notify the show that the scanning has been finished, and user can submit the 5 photos. So I'm clicking on submit. As soon as I click on submit, it will notify that the dentist will be connected shortly, and thank you for using the R service. And right now I'm clicking on OK. So as soon as I click on submit, what exactly happens is it will hit the backend call. Oh, 1 second. Yeah. So let 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 yeah. So as soon as I click on submit, it will hit the backend API, and from there all the images along with the user's data and the scan ID. Basically for the scan ID I have used UUID because it generates a unique ID every time, and just to store the user ID I've used the username, as you can see in the code. And apart from that, I have converted all these 5 images into base 64 to process the image, and I'm hitting the backend call to store the data. So basically the one more improvement that I can or I'm having in my mind is to chunk the data and to stream it to the backend. If given a chance, I would love to implement this, but just for the sake of this demo, I've just stored the data as base 64 and hit asynchronous API call to the backend. So this is how I hit the data. So I've just made a post request, and this is the data I've collected. And yeah, I've used upsert, and to just to give the user a rich UX feel. Uh, as soon as the user uploads, the user will get a notification onto the screen that the dentist will be connected. But backgroundly asynchronously what happens is using the web APIs. So basically this is JavaScript. So using the web APIs, the this call exactly will be asynchronously processed in background. So after that, there will be a notification created for the sake of the dentist. So here I've not got a chance to implement the dentist UI, but if given a chance, I would also like to implement that as well. So basically what happens on the dentist UI is, I would like to poll messages from the database, and I'd keep the threshold around maybe uh, 30 seconds. Let us say 30 seconds, and I'll poll messages from the database, and I'll make sure that, I mean, I made sure that there's the read. So basically whenever the user uploads, there's a boolean that's by defaultly false, and at the clinic's end, they can mark the notification as to be read. So that actually makes the UX for the clinic very convenient, because they can actually go through all the images which are read, and they also can know that what all the pictures that haven't been read. So this is what I'm doing at the back end. And apart from that, I've also implemented this feature, ChatBox. So basically, this chat box, what happens is every user is associated with a unique user ID. So that's basically will be associated with the thread, and every user is associated with a thread, and these particular threads will have a bunch of messages. So for that, in order to give a rich UX feel, as soon as the user hits a message, if you notice, as soon as the user hits message, it'll say sending, and then it'll send. So basically what I did over here is, I basically sent, I mean, even before sending the message, I made sure that the UI is already rendering the current image, the current message. And then at the background, what I'm doing is I'm asynchronously running another function that basically posts data into the database, and then immediately after that, to make real-time changes, I'm hitting fetch call. So that is basically uh, over here. Yeah, so this is the code for that. Send message. So as soon as the user sends message, the state will be updated first. Okay, the state will be updated first, so just to give the user a good UX feel. And if the message, if the message wouldn't go through, then what I'm doing is I'm doing a try catch, simple try catch, and if the message is if the message has not gone through, I'm just filtering out the current message that has not gone through, because that particular message has already been associated with the temporary key that will be used for filtering out the messages that have not been passed through the network. So this is how I'm just giving the user a good user experience. And I implemented the post and get call, because the get is responsible to fetch all the messages from the database, and the post is just to post the messages onto the database. So I've utilized these schema, and I've implemented all of these. I hope I've not missed anything and covered everything. Yeah, for the notification, I've used a different component. I mean, I just wanted to keep this a little bit modular so that I can use the notification at different components as well. So I've used a different component for this, just to give it a modular approach. And I've also used this IEF, the fancy methods. fancy method calls. And yeah, this is apart from that, I also made sure that this area is blacked out, just to give the user more intuition about what and exactly, I mean, what should happen when he or she opens the application. So they're just I mean, they have to just align their face into the center, and this is pretty much what I've done. And this is actually amazing. uh, this is amazing. So uh, I'll also show the database. Yeah, this is the database, and these are the scans. These are the messages. So yeah, in the messages end. And just forgot to mention, I also added this thing where whenever the user sends a message, it'll automatically scroll down. And so just to, again, to give the user a rich experience, I made sure that the resend message is uh, visible on the screen, and the older messages are not visible on the screen. So this is what I've done. And the doctor's message will be here, and the user's message will be at the right side. This is a small chat box. And regarding the database, here the scans. Here are the scans. And here are the notifications for the clinic. So on polling these, the clinic can actually mark the state to be red, true or false. So this is what I've done, and I've put this code on GitHub. I'll also share the link. So this is the code on GitHub. Yeah. So yeah, that is it for this video. I mean, thank you for giving me such an opportunity again.